Today I'm going to explain how to guess the meaning of new words in context, the topic of Chapter 1 of your textbook. First, let's talk about what is context. Context can be broken down in two parts. We have con, it means together, and text means written words. In other words, you're using the other information from the sentence or from a paragraph to guess the meaning of a word you're not familiar with. Why should you use context clues? You should use context clues because there are several important benefits. One, it will help you remember the main idea. As we discussed in the previous video, you don't need to read every word to understand, and you shouldn't stop and look up words while you're reading. When you do that, you focus too much on the details and you miss the bigger picture. Another reason why you should use context clues is because it helps improve your fluency. In other words, your reading speed. As a college student, you'll have lots of reading to do. And if you're stopping and looking up every word, or if you're stopping and translating, it's going to take you much longer to read those assignments. And finally, in my opinion, the most important reason is because it will train you to think in English without translating. Now, you may not be using a phone or a computer to translate, but a lot of people, myself included, oftentimes we translate in our heads to get the meaning. And that increases how much time it takes you to understand. And as you're translating, there could be misunderstandings, right? Because, languages aren't one for one. You could have one language in English, but two languages in your first language. So translation can create problems, and it will slow you down. You want to get in the habit of thinking in English without translating, and using context clues can help you with that. Now, your book is going to tell you to just look at other information and guess the meaning. But I want to go through a little bit more slowly, step by step, because it's not always easy. It's not always possible to guess the meaning of a word. The context clues are not always there. But if you follow this 3-step process, even if you can't guess the meaning, you can get some sense or some understanding of the word, and it will help you understand the overall message of the text that you are reading. So the first thing you want to do when you see a new word is guess the part of speech. There are 4 types of words we want to look at for meaning: nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Those are the words in English that really are important for meaning. The other words like pronouns, conjunctions, prepositions, those words are more important for grammar and less important for understanding. So let's take a look at the first type, noun. A noun is a person, place, thing. It could be a feeling, a thought, or an idea. And when you're looking at a word, and if you see it, it's at the beginning of the sentence, maybe it's before the verb, or after the subject, as the object, or after a preposition, there's a good chance that it's a noun. Nouns very frequently are the last words of sentences. You can also look at the suffix of the sentence. The suffix are 2 or 3 letters that we add on to the ends of words, and their only purpose is to change the type of word. So change an adjective to an adverb, change a verb to a noun, change a noun to an adjective. And here are some endings that we put at the ends of nouns. Now, just because a word may have one of these endings doesn't automatically make it a noun. But you look at the ending of the word and you look at where it is in the sentence, and that will help you guess if a noun, verb, adjective, or adverb. Now, the next type we're going to look at is the verb. I like to think of the verb as the most important word in the sentence. I think of it like the sun, and all the other words are like planets revolving around it. The verb is the action. It's the main event. It's what is happening in the sentence. It goes in the middle, after the subject, and we have a few common verb endings: ify, ate, ice, and en. So that's nouns and verbs. Next we have some describing words. We have adjectives. Adjectives are descriptive words for nouns. They usually go before the noun, and they can stack. So you can have 2 or 3 words before a noun. You can also have them after words like be. So before the noun, you can have a word like it. It is a nice day today. So nice goes before day, and it describes it. Or you can say today is nice, where nice is after the verb be and it's describing the subject. And here we see some common endings for adjectives. And the last kind is another descriptive word. It's an adverb. Now, the location of adverbs can be a little tricky because they can go in many different places. And they're not really like grammatically connected to the sentence. They just kind of like can get dropped in, sprinkled into the sentence. They can go at the beginning of a sentence, the end of a sentence. They can also go before or after the verb. One clue you want to look for is when you have a two verb tense, like the progressive, the adverb is the only word that can go between the helping verb and the main verb. So you can have a sentence like, I am quickly running to the store. Adverbs are the only words that can go there. Now, the most common ending for adverb is the ly ending. That is going to be like your number one clue for if a word is an adverb. Not all adverbs end in ly, but the majority of adverbs do end in ly. So in conclusion, you want to guess the part of speech. You want to look for the noun, the verb, the adjective, or the adverb. And again, the other words, prepositions, those little 2 or 3 letter words, prepositions, conjunctions, pronouns, those aren't important for meaning. These are the 4 words that are going to be really important for understanding the sentence in the paragraphs that you're reading. Now, step 2. You want to try to guess the connotation. Words have 2 types of definitions. Denotation, and that's the type of definition when you translate you're looking for. That's the type of definition that you look up in a dictionary. The other type of definition is the connotation. And connotation is kind of like a spectrum. You can have some words that are positive or very positive. You can have words that are very negative, or some words that are mostly neutral, maybe a little bit of positive or a little bit of negative. And for example, you have 2 words that basically mean the same thing. The main difference between the 2 is the connotation. We have words like cheap and inexpensive. One of these is very good, and one of them is maybe only a little bit good, maybe even a little bit bad. Can you guess which one is the really good one and which one is the not so good one? Inexpensive is the really good one. Inexpensive means something is low cost. It didn't cost you a lot of money to buy it. Now, cheap also means low cost, but cheap has the added meaning of also possibly being low quality. You think about it. Would you rather have an inexpensive TV or a cheap TV? So those are the 2 main steps, and then the third step is just guess the meaning. So when you see a new word, you want to go through these steps. Guess the part of speech, noun, verb, adjective, or adverb. Guess the connotation, positive, negative, or neutral, and then you can guess the meaning. Now, this process, this skill that you're learning, just like any other skill, like tying your shoes or driving a car, is going to take some time in practice to learn. But just like when you first started to drive a car, right? You really had to think about everything you were doing. You were maybe feeling a little nervous. It took a lot of effort. You had to figure out, okay, drive, how much should I put the pedal, when do I put the gas, turning the signal on, and you had to think really about everything. But once you get hours and hours and hours of practice, it becomes automatic, right? You can drive down the street and you can think about something entirely different, and you will just subconsciously, automatically drive the car. This is the same thing. There are 500,000 words in English. I don't know 500,000 words. When I see a word I don't understand, I do the same process. Now, I've been practicing it so much, and because English is my first language, I do it almost instantly. I go part of speech, connotation, guess the meaning, and I couldn't even tell you, I'm not conscious of it. And that's our goal. The more, it takes effort now, but if you keep practicing and you keep practicing and you keep practicing, just like when you learn to tie your shoes, just like when you learn to drive a car, hopefully it will become automatic for you. And you won't have to stop and look up words, and you will increase your reading fluency, and you will increase your reading comprehension. All right, in the next video, we're going to take a look at some examples, and I'll show you what it looks like when we do this in real life.